the financial situation now in South Africa?
Well, I must admit that that the reports made by the Chief Auditor General, based on the auditor reports 2008, it reaffirmed that in Perak, for a period of sojourn period of 10.5 months, 2008, when we were there, I think we clocked in a record 3.1 billion confirmed investment value in various portfolios, various types of industries, a confirmed 3.1 billion. Whereas now, over the last 11 months under Zamri, I would have thought that he would be lucky if we could even attain 400 million worth of foreign investment, FDI. Okay? Now, so that's a clear indication that foreign investors, or including local investors, are a bit skeptical as far as the new government is concerned, not so much because of Zamri's factor, but it's just because that the position of the menteri besar has not yet been finalized by the courts. So it is in the court. And number two, because the crisis is a constitutional crisis. Okay? Now, these two factors, a constitutional crisis, and it is actually in the hands of the court, put a lot of reservation and brakes and handbrakes to these foreign investors. And even the expansion of existing investors who are already parking their interest in Perak, they would also put some brakes as well. So that is a clear indication that during Zamri's 11 months could not outdo our 10.5 months. But I must say, and I must congratulate Pakatan Rakyat, and all their exco's, because in the auditor's reports for Perak, we increased our revenue collection for the state of Perak. For the first time, we increased to 104 million, 100.4 million, compared to the highest ever collected by UMNO Besar Nasional. Right? Tax revenue collection from land matters. Okay, that means from land. The most UMNO collected over the last 51 years was 533 million. That was the most UMNO collected from land revenue. Pakatan Rakyat, just for 10.5 months, we collected a revenue of 633 million. So which was an increase of 100.4 million. And that was recorded in the Federal Auditor Report, which was actually disseminated in the Parliament. Now, if you can imagine, for 51 years, the maximum UMNO could collect in any 1 year was 533. For 10.5 months, Pakatan Rakyat, 633 million. Number one. Number two is that, for 51 years, UMNO in power, the maximum zakat collection, this zakat ni dipanggil Muslim toll, or tithe, T-I-T-H-E, Muslim tithe, T-I-T-H-E, was UMNO 40.3 million. That's maximum. But 40.3. But for Pakatan Rakyat, within 10.5 months, we collected a tithe, Muslim tax of 58 million. Okay? Number one. Number two. Number three. Okay? During UMNO's time, 51 years, the revenue collection for forestry products, which means logging, okay, hasil bala, was 13 million. Hasil bala, at the maximum UMNO collected was 13 million, 13. Now, Pakatan Rakyat, for 10.5 months, we collected 40 million. Now, if you look at the budget by Besar Nasional, the 20-minute budget, the collection for the same logging in different areas was only 17 million, 17 million. Their proposed collection income, additional income for the state was only 17 million. Now, why did we get that 40 million? When I took office, a great volume of the quota for logging has already been usurped and used by UMNO. Because we took office in February. So by late December, January, and even early February, they would have actually used most parts of the quota for 2008. So we were only left with the remainder. Now, that remainder, a third of that was tendered openly. We open tender a third of the balance which UMNO left. Even that one third in an open tender would produce an income of 40 million. I don't know whether you understand what I say. Now, no. The quota for the state is 7,700 acres. Now, when we took office, we were only left with about 5,000. No, 7,007. For a year. For a year in Perak, we are allowed to chop 7,700. The quota of the year 2008, some portion have already been used by UMNO. So we only we were only left with about 5,000 because over 2,000 have been used by them. So we are left with the remainder 5,000. Out of that 5,000, a third of it has been openly tendered, meaning 1,000 plus. Okay, that would bring an income of 40 million because that indicates the government is open. We are not corrupted, and we are transparent. That's the reason why during our tenure, even though we did not have a full balance of 7,007, some portion has been utilized by UMNO. Even then, we split a third. That's rationally why we split a third. And that third, when we tendered, we got 40 million. And now, with the fresh 7,007 allocation for 2010, they only managed to get to forecast 17 million. 17. And I think this phenomenon also happened in Kelantan when Nick Aziz took office, and also happened in Kedah when Pakatan Rakyat took over Kedah. The revenue income from logging increased many fold. And that's in the Perak budget. If you look at the Perak budget.